I am the Queen of Zandalar, and a queen kneels to no one.
They should use their minds to save the world, instead of devising ways to tear it apart.
No. Not while the Black Moon still cries out for vengeance. Not until the Horde has answered for its treachery.
The war is serving its purpose. Stay focused on the endgame. You know what is to come.
The two essential weapons of an adventurer. A bottle of good gin and a jar of tasty jam. This is Girls Gone WoW!
Hello, you are listening to Girls Gone WoW, show 674, recorded on Sunday the 8th of February 2026. EJ forgot to update the template, it's fine.
I did. I don't think I've ever done that before.
This is why you thought it was March.
Yeah, there you go. It's because I hadn't typed the date.
Because you hadn't typed the date today.
Oh.
Yeah, we had a conversation just before we came on air, where EJ thought it was already March. It was very confusing. Yeah, Sunday the 8th of February 2026. It's actually still February. I am your host, Raven, and with me I have my wonderful co-host, EJ. Hello. How's it going? How's it going?
Hi. Yeah, apart from the fact that apparently I've just forgotten how to time. Yeah.
I mean, if we could skip through this rainy bit of February and just skip into March, that wouldn't be the worst thing that's ever happened.
I mean, it has been very wet, and
yes.
I'm not going to poo-poo the rain because we need the rain for lots of very important things. But you know what? Actually, I've noticed that it started getting brighter in the morning when I get up, when I have to get up to go to work, which is already making me feel brighter about things. So that's what I'm going to. And yeah, and you know, life is good, work is good. Well, you know what? I had one of those days on Friday where I saw my last client, and as I closed the door, I was like, I just don't want to speak to anybody else. And it's not that anybody had been horrible to me. I'd had a couple of, I had a few tough cases that I helped people with. And I had one gentleman who insisted on hugging me, which is fine. Don't hug. No,
you don't need to hug your vet nurse. You don't need to hug your vet. You don't need to hug your vet nurse. You don't need to hug people who help you with things in shops. It's weird.
No, just don't. Yeah, so I got, and it was just, normally I'm not very often like this, but I saw my last client and I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody else. I'd run out of like spoons, basically.
Like, yes, exactly.
Like, and I got out the back and I spoke to my colleague who was like doing the discharges from the kennels, and I'm like, is there much more to discharge? And she goes, I'm doing this one and then I've got one more. And I'm like, can I just go and clean some stuff and you discharge that one? And she was like, absolutely. She took one look at my face. She goes, you go and clean something. Sorry, it's just cleaned the kennels for her.
Yeah.
She was just like, oh, you've had enough. I'm like, yeah, just.
Yeah.
And like I said, it wasn't that I'd had a particularly bad day or like overly busy day or whatever. It was just had one of those days where I was like, enough. I just want to go home now.
Fair enough.
But then I got to show one of my colleagues who sometimes plays WoW, who is going to come back for midnight. Very excited. I'd seen a housing video. Simon had sent it to me during the day of somebody who's basically created Najatar in their housing space. So in housing now, when you get to a certain side, you can have a nighttime room or a daytime outside room. Yes. So I think they've taken the nighttime room and they've basically made like a miniature version of Najatar inside it. It's Raven. I'll find you the video and send it.
Wow. Okay.
It is incredible. And I watched this, and then I'm like, so I showed my colleague, and she's like, "You can do this in WoW now." I'm like, "Yes, this is the new housing feature," and she was like, "Oh."
Wow.
Oh, okay. Sai says it was featured on Wowhead today.
Okay.
So it's cool because it's got like rock formations, and up in the ceiling there are some which I presume they must be like turtle toys or something, and they've blown them up and like put them in the ceiling, so it's like they're like swimming overhead.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's so well done. It's so well done.
Well.
So, is that the link for it? Thank you, darling. I'm gonna pop that.
Pop that into chat.
I mean, Si wouldn't send me bad links anyway, but I just want to check. We send each other a lot of like dog and cat silly videos.
Yes, it might just be.
Which I'm sure also the chat would like.
Yes.
But
here is a dog
so
doing a nice thing. Yes.
Or we'll go to Wowhead. Today's Wowhead. It's on there. It's just and the person who'd shot the video of their creation, they'd used the toy that turns you into a naga. So you see it from the point of view of a naga going, yes, here I am in Nazjatar. And you're like, goodness. Oh, chef's kiss. So well done.
Oh, very good.
How are you? Sorry, I got really distracted there.
Apparently, no, it's okay.
I'm having a distracted day. I'll get my distraction toy out.
Okay, yeah. Don't start playing with your microphone. Yes, I'm okay. I had quite a stressful week at work, but I had Friday off. And I went to hang out with somebody, and there's potentially exciting on the horizon for that person, and by extension potentially for Dino, but we will see. And then I didn't really do anything yesterday. I spent quite a lot of yesterday asleep. And then I've been to see my aunt and uncle today and had lunch in southwest London, which did mean I had to drive on the M25, which is a bit annoying.
Favourite
activity ever. No, it was a bit annoying. It was fine going out. It was a bit annoying coming back. And then I've got tomorrow off as well.
Delightful.
Yes, it is. Although I received an update from my GP who was like, we need you to come in for a smear test. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow. Like, thanks.
Oh, delightful.
Less delightful. Probably, fine.
Series of anatomy.
Yeah, it's annoying having a cervix.
But more exciting is that you've discovered the joy of air fryers.
Oh, yeah.
This is not an air fryer podcast, but I was very excited, and I pinged you because you were in game last night. So I pinged you to ask. I was trying to ask you about how the tofu had gone in the air fryer.
Oh, yes.
You were very invested in game because and I was just like,
I was trying to get second chair poured on his stupid light fittings. Anyway.
Oh, I see.
Which turned... we'll talk about that in our weeks in WoW. Yes, the air fryer. The tofu went very well in the air fryer. I was very pleased with the air fryer. So yes, we get a little present at the end of campaign where I work, and I spent my voucher on a tiny air fryer. It's literally a 2-litre air fryer. It's tiny, and I used it. Yes, it arrived on Friday, and I used it yesterday, and I did air fried tofu, and then I put it in red curry, and it was extremely tasty. Yes, air fryer's a big success. I did some sausages this morning before, like I had breakfast this morning, and I was like, I could just put them in the air fryer and ignore them for 5 minutes. That's amazing. So the air fryer gets 2 thumbs up. Very good.
Top tip if you're going to do like crispy tofu in an air fryer is rather than cut your tofu, tear it, because then you've got more surface area for like cornstarch if you're using cornstarch to try and get some crispiness on it, and it gets even crispier.
I did put cornstarch on mine this morning. I managed to get cornstarch all over everything, including the cat. So that was exciting.
The only thing with cornstarch,
just goes everywhere.
Yes.
It just goes everywhere. Yeah, so it was very, that was pretty exciting. So yeah, there we go. Right, interesting news of the week. Have you got tendies to spare? This month sees the return of the extra trading post vendors who've set up shop is slightly apart from the normal post in Donegal. They're offering items from previous months, some at a generous discount, so do check them out in case something you previously wanted is on offer. In Donegal, if you put the trading post behind you and then walk along the little promenade, they're all lined up on the right-hand side, where occasionally there are holiday vendors, like sometimes there are, or holiday enthusiasts, that's usually what they call them, isn't it? Occasionally there's just like NPCs hanging around with exclamation marks over their head, and you're like,
yeah,
who the fuck are you? They're sort of around
if you
there.
ever do it, they're sort of opposite the place where the Trial of Style guy is when he's there in Donegal.
Yeah.
There are additional class updates and quality of life improvements arriving with the second pre-patch update, which drops with maintenance this week. It's going to include UI enhancements to damage meters, boss alerts, and more. Because there were quite a lot of changes, I'm just going to post the link in our show notes. I cast my eye quickly over it. It looked like most classes were getting something poked, so check that out in case you thought you were safe. You might not be.
Yes. If they could fix a weird audio bug I've got going on at the moment, that would be great. I've got a weird sound effect that keeps playing, and it just keeps playing on loop, and it's quite an eerie sound effect. I don't know what it is. I've removed my accursed keepsake from my bag. That's now in my guild bank. I don't think I've got anything else in my bag that is causing this, and it just keeps looping, and in order to stop it I have to log out and then log back in again, and then it goes away for a bit and then it comes back, and it's extremely irritating, and I actually nearly logged out last night because it was driving me bonkers. So
have you checked in the new, like, what's it called, audio enhancement section or something?
Yeah.
You've not clicked something on in that section?
I wouldn't have thought it would be something like that. It's just, yes, exactly. It sounds like my game is haunted. It sounds like there's a little ghost walking behind me, making a little woo 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 noise. Which
Woo noise.
yeah. Yeah, I don't like it.
Woo woo. I mean, yeah, that would get tedious quite quickly.
Yeah, it's not quite like that, but it does sound like my game is haunted, and I don't like it. So, yeah, hopefully it'll fix that bug. Pretty sure it's a bug. Anyway, Blizzard have released a new 4-minute short on the YouTubes called Midnight, the story so far. Guess what? It's a summary of the story to date about Xal'atath. So if you've been away for a while, 4 minutes, it'll catch you up. And if you've not been away for a while, it's got Xal'atath in it. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it earlier because I was like, I'm writing about this, I should watch it in case... No, it was just a nice, like, oh, in case you've not been keeping up, here's what's happening. Xal'atath, she's a wrong-un, don't you know, basically.
And she's still not wearing shoes. Still not wearing shoes. No.
Still not wearing shoes.
No.
So, are you in Toronto on Saturday, February the 21st? If so,
No.
you can attend a free WoW community event, which is being held at Lunarium Toronto from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m, and it's also going to be live streamed. Enter Through the Void for an immersive light projection experience. There's going to be a meet and greet, time to be announced, with WoW design lead Toby Ranjani, a housing photo booth, content creators, streamers, cosplayers, and the Dark Moon Fair will be in attendance, where you compete and win prizes while supplies last. To attend, you will need a ticket. This is a free ticket. There is a link which I'm going to put in the show notes. So yes, if you're in Toronto, go and obviously we went to the London one. The Germany one's been happening over this last week, and everybody seems to be having a good time at these. So
Yeah.
Worth checking out if you're able to.
Very good. Very good. Sounds cool. Okay, straight into our topic of the week. Does every expansion need a new class? So with the Midnight pre-patch, Demon Hunter's got a 3rd talent spec. Is that enough? Do we have room for any new classes, or should we stick to adding more specs to pre-existing ones, or is 36/37, I've forgotten where we've got to now, actually maybe enough?
30s.
Maybe enough? I don't know. EJ, have you got a Demon Hunter?
I've got one of everything.
Oh.
One of everything.
Of course you have.
Peonies is my demon hunter.
Peonies.
Peonies.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And does she? And she will be.
In fact,
Does she have this?
I did have a demon hunter, and then I made Peonies during the Legion remix. Because I was like, maybe demon hunters are like. Well, my theory was get rid of the one that I'd previously made because I didn't really know where she was at or what she was doing. Make a nice one. Everybody, like literally everybody, was making a demon hunter for Legion remix. It was like the meta of what you made. So I'm like, well, let's see what's the fuss is all about. And also, let me stick the one button on and see how it goes with one button.
Okay.
It's all right with the one button. I was having a nice time.
Okay.
I was like, this is all right. One button. And then obviously there are some things that you shouldn't really, like, are included on one button, but aren't always the most sensible things. So I worked out which of those things were actually, like, big things that would be useful to cast at appropriate times and put those on my bars as well.
Okay.
Had a lovely time. So I do have a demon. Yes, I have one of everything.
Okay. And will you be trying the new spec on this demon hunter? I can't remember what it's called.
Probably will give it a go. Devourer.
Devourer. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I mean, like, we're going into a very void-heavy expansion. It would seem remiss of me not to at least turn the one button on for that when I get to that bit. I shall certainly give it a go. It sounded quite interesting. Somebody was talking about it the other day, and I forget who. But somebody was talking about it, and the way they were talking about it, I was like, oh, that sort of sounds kind of interesting. I quite often, like when a new spec comes along, I quite often give a new spec. I mean, not that we've had a lot of new specs, but I always give a new class a go because I'm just like, what's this about? And then sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, I see the point of this. And sometimes I'm like, this is sort of like two other things that we've already got stuck together. I don't get the point of this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like, oh, no, thank you. But I like that they do try and offer something new up, and I think it would be very weird to have a game as old as Warcraft is and for them not to have tried to innovate something different. Do I think that some of these have been different enough from other things we already had? Not really. Do I think there's sort of big missing things? Yeah. I mean, there's a few things that people have talked about for a long time, and I know a lot of people were really, really hopeful that we were getting a new class in this expansion. But I don't know that we've got much. I don't know if we've got much more space, and I don't know if it just. I would have to be convinced about what we're missing currently, apart from the very, very obvious thing, there's two really obvious things that people have talked about for a long time. If we're talking about whole classes, and that would be the Bard class or a Tinker Engineer type class. Those are the two big ones that people talk about a lot. Obviously, I love engineering, so I would be all about trying a Tinker class. But yeah, I mean, the DK. I mean, I get the whole DK thing. It was,
Okay, so let's just revise ourselves a little bit. Of what actually did happen in terms of classes. So in Wrath of the Lich King, Death Knights appeared. That was thematically extremely appropriate, obviously, because they were very, very heavily linked to Arthas. In Mists, we got monks, again, thematically extremely appropriate. And yeah, I mean, they were definitely thematically appropriate, let's put it that way. In Legion, we got demon hunters. Again, there was a sort of solid story reason as to why we might want to have demon hunters at that time and in that place. And then in Dragonflight, we got evokers. And again, very sort of strong storytelling reasons why that was sort of thematically appropriate. So we haven't had that many new classes, but we already had quite a lot of classes, and there's been quite a lot of loosening up of what class can be played with which race and these kinds of things, so that you can, you know, have a much more, you can basically play kind of whatever you want these days, whereas maybe back in the olden days it was a bit more restricted. I think, I mean, it's difficult to see that there's actually much room for any more classes, and I can't see that, like in Midnight, I don't think we're doing anything that warrants a new class. Like, there isn't a strong story reason to have a new class that isn't there already. I think probably the spec, for a class that only had 2 talent specs to start with, I think the introduction of a 3rd spec in a thematically appropriate way seems reasonable. My hesitation about the kind of... So yes, as you say, bards and tinkers are the 2 sort of ones that keep coming up. My hesitation about bards is that bards are definitely a support class. They are definitely a support class. And World of Warcraft does not really support classes very well.
Well, no, look at the evokers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm not sure that I think it would work. It would be cool to have a class that could play music, I suppose. But I don't think it works in World of Warcraft the way it worked in, like, Baldur's Gate 3. The way it works in Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
And I sort of wonder if actually what those should be additional specs for something pre-existing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see
a whole new class.
I can definitely see a Tinker being a good spec addition to, like, a basic damage class. You could... Hunters. You could... Yeah, which, considering they've just broken Beast Mastery, might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that would be good.
Just give me some spells, Blizzard.
Make Hunters playable again. And yeah, I don't know who would be a natural fit to take Bard, but it feels like you should probably fit it in somewhere rather than try and make it a class all of its own. As Sai says in the chat room, augmentation evokers were a nightmare to balance because the way the game just doesn't really support that kind of class mechanic. And I think the 30 odd specs we've got at the moment are probably enough.
It's busy stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, this sort of leads into an interesting piece of news that came up last week, last month even. Some players were reporting that they'd seen a class survey on the Battle.net launcher asking which of the potential new class specs they were listing you would find most appealing.
Oh.
So they listed... Oh my god, some of these are just making me laugh. Okay, so they listed a healer hunter, a support priest. I'm not quite sure what
is a support priest? What is it like? What is not supportive about a holy priest right now?
I know. If you go, so I didn't put the whole descriptions in because otherwise we would be here forever. I will link this in the show notes. But yes, healing hunter, support priest, a ranged DPS monk, a tank spec for shaman, rogue, and warlocks, a ranged DPS priest (holy), a support paladin. A ranged DPS Death Knight, or a healer mage. Now, I mean, they've obviously seen the heavy work I've done with bandages over.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
They're finally recognising me. Thanks, Blizz. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I read some of the descriptions and I was like, so in addition, whilst you're just cogitating on those ideas, there is speculation that some specs are already being tested internally because Blizzard posted an image in October 2025 when they were showing the updates to the raid frames, the Blizzard raid frames. And if you look through it, it lists a hunter with a healing symbol on it next to it. See in the picture I supplied for you, Raven.
How odd.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you think about some of these sort of potential specs, Like, I think you could argue in some circumstances for a new class where it is super thematically appropriate, right? So, like, monks, when we went to Mr. Pandaria, total, like, really, really, really fitted it in, like, really, really seemed to dovetail well. But also took some spells away from some other classes, like, stole some abilities from some other classes. Like, every time you bring a new class in, you end up with more kind of homogenization and more kind of sharing of abilities across multiple classes. Or indeed, certainly for demon hunters, there was outright removal of some other like things
like
from warlocks had some stuff stolen, which seems like pretty bad. That doesn't seem like an appropriate thing to do, because then you've got people who are already playing a class that they really enjoy suddenly can't do something that they've been able to do for 20 years, which just seems quite bad. And a lot of these specs just seem to exacerbate that problem. Like, you're going to lose class identity if you have, like, if everybody can kind of do everything. Sure, like it would be nice to be able to have some pet tanking classes, like a shaman or a warlock. Let's beef Rocky up. Let's send him out to do some tanking. Okay, that's new. That's interesting, maybe. But like a ranged DPS monk, well, there are loads of ranged DPS classes, like a ranged DPS Death Knight, like. Why would you play a DK?
Death Knight is weird, isn't it? Like, that's particularly weird.
Yeah, like, surely you just play another ranged damage dealer. Like, I don't know. I find it a bit weird, and I think it just feels to me like a big kind of window towards like homogenization. I think there's too much choice, and I think the wanting to have everything in the game is kind of a bit at odds with having some kind of class fantasy. A healing hunter, like, I feel like hunters do need a viable third spec. Like, they feel like they've got a bit of a, hunters feel like they're in an odd place right now, not least because they've just gutted BM, but like, so maybe like, I think it's interesting to think of like a healing hunter or a healer mage in terms of like these pure DPS classes having a spec that they can actually do something else and give some versatility. That's kind of an interesting idea.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
Shaman tanks is something that people have been talking about for such a long time. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Because it's just, I mean, ever since they've been, like, literally since vanilla, people have wanted Shaman to be able to tank. In fact, briefly, I think Shaman, a Shaman.
Yeah, I think you did.
They could almost tank.
Yeah.
I'm sure I remember that happening.
In, like, Burning Crusade or something, yeah.
Oh, yeah, like, literally that long ago. And yeah, there is something delightful about the thought that perhaps my tiny little warlock could tank with her blueberry or something. They'd probably make the Felguard do that, wouldn't they?
I mean, probably, yeah.
But I do think that perhaps new specs is a more viable way of adding more variety in, rather than like completely new classes. I just don't know that we've got the room for like.
I mean, it seems
a lot
like
of new classes without stripping things out of what we've already got.
Yeah, like 36, 37, 38 specs, I can't remember what it is now, is a lot. It's a lot. So I don't know that I feel like a whole new class is warranted unless there's a very, very, very like pressing like thematic need for a new class that is in some way kind of radically different. But I don't think they should be stealing abilities from other classes, and I think maybe new races are a bit more kind of interesting in that, because then you get new lore, you get new looks, you get new kind of visuals. Like, yeah, just stick with new races and updated specs.
Oh, I mean, like, how long has almost everybody I know wanted to have any flavour of paladin? And that could be, that you could build in as a big bit of story, the reason why suddenly like gnomes. Gnomes are oh my goodness, gnomes as paladins. I mean, obviously yes, because they'll look adorable. Today, as an aside, I went to Molten Cores because I was farming dark iron ore, and I killed something, and I looted. And as I was running away, like, my game informed me that I'd finished the paladin Molten Core set. For some reason, I hadn't got all of the bit. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't realise I still needed things. So I just, like, shift clicked on it. And because I was on a gnome, it showed me what this looked on a gnome. And I was like, oh, what you doing? This looks... Why have I still not got my gnome paladin? I look amazing in this outfit. This janky outfit from Vanilla, but my gnome looks incredible.
Yeah.
Also, gnome druids. Exactly, Banian. Yes, I'd be far... I have to say, these days, I think I'd be far more interested in more races being able to be more classes, and in fact them doing stories to make there be a reason, not just say, oh, and all of a sudden gnomes discovered nature. Like, I'd much prefer a little storyline around something, the gnomes doing something with the druids, and they're like, oh yes, and now nature.
Well, let's see what other people thought and pick up some more comments as we're going through. Let's hear what Salmis thinks.
This is Salmis reporting in for this week's topic, which has been officially declassified. While we didn't get a whole new class this expansion, I like that the new Demon Hunter spec has a thematic tie-in that is fairly obvious, as well as a relevant quest line that ended in us kicking a presumptuous little twerp into a void portal. It even provided a fun council fight in the Mana Forge Omega raid that never dropped the boots I wanted. Well, they're out of style now anyway, so I'll just polish my old boots and enjoy this bowl of sour grapes. A new class, especially one that fits well in the unfolding story, does add excitement and shine to an expansion. I enjoyed playing through the Death Knight starting zone, as well as the Pandaren Monk experience. I really got into the Demon Hunter starting zone and had a blast playing it throughout Legion. I have to admit that while I enjoyed starting a new Evoker, I never was able to make much sense of it. I have one, and she's level 80, but I always feel a bit puzzled when I try to play her. I'm at the, ooh, that button seems to kill things, stage. Perhaps my class list is finally full, but I still enjoy learning new playstyles, so maybe if there is an expansion where a new class makes narrative sense, I might get excited all over again. And that's always fun. Salmis out.
Yeah, I do think it's nice to go and explore new zones and new starting areas and things, but I guess the other thing that sort of puts me off wanting to have any more classes is that thing that you do at the beginning where the new class has to be like super overpowered and then everything is just like it really disrupts everything when a new class arrives, because obviously the new hotness has to be the new hotness for a little bit, so
try and encourage everyone to sort of give it a go. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it just means that the first part of a raid tier or whatever is just super unbalanced, and you can't do anything apart from you have to take the new hotness with you, and then they nerf it back too far, and everybody gets really annoyed, and then they balance it back the other way. I just think it's very difficult for Blizzard to balance this game at all. So maybe don't add anything too much different, because you just make your lives harder.
I mean, I do always enjoy you and I teaming up and making whatever the new thing is, and going around trying to murder things and going, what does this button do? I don't know. I fell off a thing. Yeah. That is one of my favourite things about a new class, because you and I go and trial it and discover that we're not very good at it.
And we're rubbish
I always have a great couple of hours doing that with you.
Yep. Yep. Karanath says, I think a new class should be added when it feels right in terms of gameplay and story. Same for new specs. I'm very much in line with T&E regarding a Tinker class. I think it fits with the style of WoW and also the lore. There's plenty of characters stomping around in mech suits. Otherwise, I'd just say balance out their armor types a bit. Not another leather armor wearing mostly agility based class. Maybe a cloth armor tank? Yeah, I guess the armor side of it is another kind of problem. So yes, I think Tinkers would fit right in, and maybe Tinker. Like, I just think it's a spec to something that already exists. I don't think it's a whole new class, but it does. I mean, the mechagnomes already exist, so
yes.
Where's the fucking problem?
I think it's a hunter spec.
Yeah, that seems legit. And it could either be mech suits or it could be little mechanical pets, or both. But yeah, they do seem to not balance out the armor types very well, and then you end up with. So if you're sitting in a raid, you've suddenly got like everybody in the raid is waiting for the same thing to drop, and you're like, oh god, that's really tedious. Cloth armor tank, yeah, that could be your tanky warlock, I suppose, or your, yeah.
I mean, I've tried to tank on a mage for many years, so you know.
with varying degrees of success, fair to say.
Yeah, true. Bash says, I think there's still room for more classes, but I would really like to see them expand into other things classes can do. How about a true support class like Final Fantasy's Bard or Red Mage, where you're slinging buffs, debuffs, dots and hots? Or a Spellblade, a melee caster hybrid that already exists in the game world through various NPCs. For myself, I'd like to keep on exploring the allied races as well. There's so many well fleshed out factions and races from past expansions we could be revisiting and adding as playable. Tunka, Furblogs, 2 different kinds of Arakoa, 3 different flavours of ethereals. I still think there's plenty of game life left to keep things fresh. I would be surprised if we come out of all of this, and by this I mean the whole World Sword saga, and we haven't been given some flavour of ethereal. It just seems like the time to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think there is a cap on new races. Like, I think you can always find a story reason to do new races or allied races or whatever. I don't think true support classes... Like, I think to do a true support class, Blizzard need to change their whole approach to kind of raiding and end game content. And I don't know quite what that looks like, but I just don't think it... I think the augmentation evoker proved to us that it doesn't really work at the moment. And I'm not saying they can't do that. I just think it would need a real substantial... mindset change on behalf of the devs and also on behalf of the community, unfortunately, because if something doesn't appear at the top of the DPS meters, it ain't being taken to the raid, and that's just really
on the top of the hills.
Yeah, exactly. It has to appear somewhere. There has to be some kind of meter that it is top of before it will be allowed to be taken anywhere, and that's just stupid. So I don't really know what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, maybe. Am says, I'm not sure WoW needs more classes, although something like a Bard might be a good addition, but maybe it's time for a Warlock tank spec. And something additional that does damage and additional to Shadow for Priests. Hell, I wouldn't say no to a healer mage. Fire/cauterizing either. That said, what I think is missing is more actual racial options. There are so many races in the game now, and it's a shame you can't play so many of them. Ethereal would jump to the top of my list, as would Murlocs, Kobolds, Grummels, Arakoa, and Vicryl. Okay, we're coalescing on playable ethereals here, I think. And Warlock tanks.
And Warlock tanks, yeah. Fabio says, even though I do believe we have space for new classes, right now I'd be much more interested in adding more specs to existing classes. I think 4 specs per class is ideal, like druids have now. I read somewhere that pure DPS classes are an outdated design philosophy, and I agree. It's even worse with classes that are purely ranged or melee deeps. I would also add something I heard the other day from a podcast, I don't remember which one, that a way to make support specs viable is adding a 6th spot in dungeon groups specifically for support. Instead of using a DPS spot. I think it might be a good idea. It was when you were talking, just before we read this, I was thinking specifically about Mythic Plus, and I'm like, currently a support class would just be a nightmare in like the Mythic Plus and stuff. But yes, if you added another space, into that team.
Maybe. I think you might do something unfortunate to dungeon queues if you turned 5-mans into 6-mans.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe you could do it maybe you rebalance it up so the 5-man is a support, a healer, a tank, and 2 DPS. And that, you just change that makeup. But yeah, you could certainly shoehorn a support class in a way that, I mean, maybe that's what, yeah. In a way that you have to take some with you in some way, so that might work. Interesting, the idea of 4 specs per class. Obviously, it's not done any harm to those specs to druids to have 4 specs. We've always had 4 specs.
Yep.
Obviously, we've had some classes now that have only had 2 specs, which seems a bit weird. It does seem odd to have classes like mage, which it's just literally, well, you can DPS like this, or you can DPS like this, or you can DPS like this. Having some kind of utility and versatility and ability to do something else seems like a good idea.
Like say that my utility as a mage is running away. That's how I utilize. If you see the mage running, run.
Yeah.
That's the utility I bring to it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that seems like a solid suggestion. But yes, I don't know about new classes. Nadriel says, I've been a demo warlock since literally day 1. I need no further classes. Yes, right with you, Nadriel, except for druids. But more seriously, I think that 1 new spec is probably enough. Adding more classes adds more complexity into calculations, so I think it's only expanding occasionally is a better approach.
Cherry says, new classes are really fun to play most of the time. However, I don't think that every X-Pack needs a new one. I like that they introduced a new spec to the Demon Hunter in Midnight, so that it's something more to poke around, rather than possibly having to add and level a whole character again. That being said, I know that people are interested in the leveling experience, and that's cool. I just think adding new classes or even races more spread out throughout the journey would really help with decision fatigue and the feeling of overwhelm that people may have with a game that could be contributing to some loss of interest in the long run. Yeah, I think there is a danger of just making... I think sometimes there is a danger of too much choice. Yeah, for sure. Especially, I mean, can you imagine coming to World of Warcraft now as a new player? Like, it was pretty overwhelming, 16 years ago when I started playing. I can't really imagine what somebody arriving at the game now. It's like, okay, so you've got all of these possible options. Which one do you choose? That does feel a little bit overwhelming. Pastamat says, for classes, I think a male-wearing DPS/tank Tinker would be great, or a clothy healer/DPS/support Rune Master. As for specs, Battle Mage is always popular, dual-wielding melee augmented by magic. All that said, I'm not sure we need a class or a spec for a while. I mean, Battle Mage, to be honest, beefing mages up in some way so that they can be hit more than twice. Just occasionally. Plate on. I look good in it. Let me wear some plate.
I mean, yeah, or even just some leather, like a bit chainmail, even.
Anything better than like this little cotton dress you send me out in normally. It's like it's not good.
No.
And also, I'm not even a fire mage. They just singeing their clothes off constantly.
Yeah.
Graphis says, I don't think they need to keep adding new classes unless they have a specific niche. The problem comes, especially after the ability prune, with the fact that if you boil them down, they play the same.
Yes.
Aesthetic can only take you so far. I think a better play would be to skin the classes. This could be race specific or lean into the hero specs. This way you're not trying to reinvent the wheel or stepping on other specs' toes. Like Demon Hunters nicking meta from Locks. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do think there's room for a completely different take on the kind of race class thing. Mm-hmm. In other games, it's a lot... some of the games just have completely different approaches to it. So you have a character, and that character is a specific race and looks a particular way, but can do whatever you want. Like in Elder Scrolls games, you just spec them into whatever you want to spec them into. And if you want to have in Skyrim rather than like ESO, but like if you want to have something that's got like a whole load of stuff in one-armed swords, one-handed swords, and a whole load of stuff that's in fireballs, you can kind of do that if you want to. You can spec things however you want. There's lots of other kind of MMOs that are just much more flexible, like the classes are not so rigidly defined. So maybe what we need is just a completely different way of thinking about races and classes and what it actually is. Because I think Graphis is right. You know, why do I like to play Elemental Shaman when I'm not playing Druid? Well, because it feels like a balanced Druid. Like it, you know, I've got similar. Is it the same? No, of course it's not the same. It looks quite different, but actually it has a very similar kind of cadence to it. It feels quite similar. If I don't play my Elemental Shaman for a while, usually it only takes me a couple of minutes to be like, oh yeah, this is the one that's like that, and this is the one that's like that, and then that's how that goes. You're like, cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why certain spells live in specific spots on my keyboard. It's so that if I do swap into something and I've not done you in a while, but I need to interrupt something, or I need to do like my, actually I get back into it quite quickly because I've stuck the relevant thing in the same place.
Yeah, for sure. Finally, Trey says, I'm so fucking tired of having a new class every time an expansion happens. They have to do so much balancing, and I'm so tired of class flavour of the expansion. They need to concentrate on making sure every class is balanced correctly. What happened to bring the player, not the class? They do definitely create themselves balance problems by increasing the levels of complexity, by introducing new specs and new classes very frequently. It is difficult. I do think it's really difficult. Like, the quest for balance, specifically in WoW, is something that is, I feel, quite unique to the World of Warcraft. Like, we worry about which specific classes are playing better or worse at any particular moment in time. And this idea that everything should come out the same is a little bit detrimental. I mean, I realise that if there's something that's playing really well, obviously your high-end raiders are going to go and play that. So Frost Mages are in charge of this expansion. Cool, everyone's got a Frost Mage. Great. I realise that's a problem, but it's also kind of a 1% problem. Like, it's not...
Mostly it is, but the problem with that is that people who aren't playing at the 1% also sort of buy into that mentality, so that it means people who are just trying to sort of play more casually then struggle to get into groups because people are like, oh, you're not playing this, and it's like, yeah, but we're not playing at like the cutting edge of things. Yeah,
but that's, you see, that doesn't seem to really happen in other MMOs. Like, this is the problem that's the crux of where WoW has got itself into a real kind of bind. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, because I've never played super high-end content in other MMOs, but it just feels like this idea that the solution to that problem is we're just going to try and keep everything as balanced as possible feels like a sort of Sisyphean task. It's never ever going to be complete. It's never ever going to happen. Nothing's ever going to be completely balanced. So instead, things swing like wildly. Like, it's warrior month. Amazing, everybody's going to have warriors this month. Today we're all about paladins. Huzzah! Like, let's it feels like it has some really weird second order effects.
Yeah, and if you're going to have any sort, like, you're never going to get everybody equal. There's always going to be and there's always going to be somebody at the top and somebody at the bottom and like everybody else in the middle. But it's very rare that there's a huge, it doesn't feel like there's apart from, especially when they introduce something new, and there often is a sort of wild wing at the top because things aren't, everything's new and shiny. Yes, the difference between real balance and perceived balance. I think it's a weird conversation that has been happening in WoW for a really long time, and I don't know how you put that thing back in the box.
No, but it has such a distortion across everything we think about. We think about how classes work, that everybody has to sort of get to the same number. So then everything feels very homogenized, I think. You don't, like, there isn't a real class fantasy. There isn't a real kind of difference between all the various specs. Bella, don't sit on Snowfie, please.
And also, and like I thought Trey's comment was really interesting, because before I wrote the show notes earlier, I sort of had it in my head, and I think this is just from like consuming me like different contents from different content creators. I'd got it in my head that sort of every other expansion there'd been a new class and stuff, and then I was like, oh no, there's just been 4 in like 21 years, and I'm like, oh, okay. So actually there hasn't been that many, but weirdly in my head I just felt like there'd been a lot more than that.
Yeah, I do think I mean there's been a few new specs and a few new, I mean, a lot of new races, but I don't think there's a problem with there being more new races at all. But then, of course, we have got into this pattern now where whenever the expansion happens, we're going to have pruning, or we're going to have like rebalancing, or we're going to have like, you know, everything's going to be broken and everybody's got to relearn to do everything because we're going to change all of the classes. There's been a lot, like I feel like Shadowlands, for example, just they changed so much about the way that talents work and introducing your like convoke the spirits, like your
yes, your covenant.
There we go.
Ability.
Your covenant abilities and all this kind of stuff. Like really significantly changed how all of the classes played. So you didn't introduce a new class, but it sort of felt like all of the classes had been remade, and you still had a big job to kind of work out how everything worked. And I think maybe I don't know. It would. I just feel like we're going back to square one constantly, and it would be nice to not feel like that.
It's like the discussion we had 1 or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember now. When I was like trying to spec my Shadow Priest after, and I was like, why after 21 years is Devouring Plague now called Shadow Word Jam or whatever it's now called, and it's got a new symbol? It didn't need a new symbol, and it didn't need a rename. It was fine with the leave it alone. It was fine.
Everything was fine.
Why have you done that?
Yeah.
Like, it was voidy enough. I know this is the voidy I know this is the void expansion, but Shadow has been well into the void.
Yeah.
They didn't need to like highlight their voidiness. Like, what was all that about?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed some of the things that we've done over, like things like the Green Fire quest for Warlocks and stuff, you know, doing specific pieces of content like that, which gives a specific class a specific thing. That feels quite rewarding, and fulfills some class fantasy and gives people stuff to do. Like, maybe we should do more stuff like that, but I don't see how it's possible to introduce another whole like new class and keep it interesting and like fun and actually separate from the other classes. We're just sort of heading towards a bit of a homogenization, I think.
I sort of think that actually what people might prefer would be more class fantasy based things. So way back in vanilla there were class specific quest lines, and you got like an amazing weapon at the end of those. Like you say, the Warlock Green Fire, if I'm playing on one of my Warlocks that isn't my Warlock that's done that, I log in and I'm like, your spells are the wrong colours, and I'm like, oh, that's because I'm not playing on Key, I'm playing on somebody else. And that, you know, they're fine, they play as Warlocks, but I am side-eyeing them a little bit. I'm like, but you're not my Green Fire Warlock, are you?
Yeah.
And I really like the fact that just one of them is like that. I mean, I could go and do it on the others, but I don't want to. It makes her a little bit different, a little bit special, and I really like that.
So I think more class skins or more class customizations, whatever you call it, would be the step forwards. But I don't think we need new classes I think we're all agreed we don't need too many more new classes.
Yeah. Which was really, I wasn't quite sure how this was going to play out, but yeah, it looks like we're all pretty much sitting in the same boat.
Yes.
With some strong side eyes towards Tinkers, and possibly bards, but tinkers, yeah, we could work those in. But yeah, just more races, being able to play more classes, absolutely. Well, if you're enjoying the show, perhaps you could give us a little like or post a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to us. We're hoping to try and grow our audience a bit this year, and we'd love you to help us reach out to some new people. We'd love you to join our Discord server over at bit.ly/ggw-discord. You can also watch our live show on Sundays at 8 p.m. London time or midday Pacific over at twitch.tv/silkyraven.
Right, before we get into how our weeks in gaming has been, let us catch up with our tiny little correspondent.
Greetings and salutations, my friends. 'Tis I, Cassunda. Sorry, throat's a bit sore. The reason being, I got to Sarge's quarters, his apartment. Flames were already licking, smoke pouring out, but I put a cloth over my face and rushed in, trying to find anything that might be a clue. The fire had started in an office. Typical, the one place I'd need to search first. I grabbed a vase of... well, I thought it was water, then realised it obviously couldn't be bothered to use the outside toilet. But I threw it over it anyway. Managed to quell the flames, but the smoke was dense. I have been going through the charred remains of what's there. There was maps of the area, one of which looked as though it had been altered. It was a map of where the Draenei live, before the Draenei were there. Now, being of a sneaky persuasion as I am, I noticed that some of the annotations were more recent than the originals, but still made to look old. It looked as though someone had altered these maps to change the information on them, but still tried to make it look old enough to make it look original. There was also charred in places, but enough that I could make out letters that seemed to infer that Sarge was the illegitimate child of the poor gentleman that had died and left the land without heir. Again, the ink looked more recent than the paper. I think this man was played for a fool. Someone was using him, making him believe. But there was also correspondence, information about meetings, about his people, and talking about Sir, talking about the commander, him meeting the commander saying there was a place for him with people that disliked like non-humans like him. This was a cloak operation. By the looks of it, they found this man and preyed on his own thoughts, made him believe that he was a legitimate owner to this land. They played on his own xenophobia and used him to recruit others. Again, all I see is Commander. That's all it says. It seems to be implying someone here in Boralis, though. All of the meetings took place here. Who it is, no information. I'll give them their due, these cloaks. They keep their anonymity covered. They don't even tell people who else is working for they're with. This is a classic spy operation. You only know those in your own cell. You might report to someone higher up, but you don't know anything else. And even then, the higher up is keeping themselves protected with code names and cloaks, in this case. But at least we seem to have saved the Draenei. I'm going to be heading back to get back to the celebration, as was. Make sure nobody's seriously hurt. And find out as to who that armoured fellow was. He looked familiar, and I can't place my finger on it where I know him from. And also why he was calling Rosalie his sister. But I think I'll get the most of this smoke out of my throat now. Oh, finding a rather nice bottle of wine helped. I think that's the midso. Right. Well, I think I've got my breath back as best as possible. I'd better get back across the rooftops to where the Draenei are. Oh, I'll be seeing you.
Oh dear. Sounds like a very complicated operation that has been at play. Well,
slightly unpleasant.
Yes. Let's move on. Let's wait to hear what Cassunda comes back. This evening has been a whole learning experience in ways that I could not possibly have imagined. If you didn't watch the pre-show, then yeah, you missed out, frankly. But maybe I'm not suggesting you should go back and watch the pre-show. Please don't at me if you do. EJ, gaming. Have you done much gaming this week?
Yes, I have. Yes.
What have you been up to?
Well, Animal Crossing continues to be delightful. I'm having so much fun just running around. I got a brand new Beardo, my lovely Beardo. He came up and decided that he wanted to go travelling and explore the rest of the world, and I felt mean saying no, and then I said yes, okay, take care, and then I just very sad because I love Beardo. But off he went. But I managed to get there's some new villagers that you can get that are Zelda coded. So I've got this delightful sort of slightly spiritual, I think she's a deer. She's very delightful. She's got a lovely house that's got like a Triforce and some rupees in it. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, it's just, I really like it because there's just a whole load of achievements that will be achievable. I just have to sort of plug away at them, but it's stuff that I can do that's just quite soothing. And I think everybody's had some days recently where they just need something that's a little bit soothing.
Yes.
So well done Animal Crossing for arriving yet again at a moment when soothing was important. Thank you. So that's Animal Crossing. WoW. So okay, I've been quite busy in the last week. So I decided that everybody was going to be really distracted now that Endeavours had arrived. So I took myself back to the Brawlers Guild, and nobody was there. Like, if you want to do the Brawlers Guild, I mean,
now
worried about saying this. If you want to do the Brawlers Guild, really quiet. I turned up at like what had been like middle of the day, and I'm like, there's going to be a queue. Nobody there.
Wow. Okay.
And I whomped myself all the way up to rank 8 in not very much time at all.
Okay.
Had a lovely time. So I've got the housing decor from there, and I've bought myself what was that? Oh, there's a new version of Bruce, so I've bought Bruce 2.0 or whatever he's called. So yeah, Brawlers Guild done. Very pleased. Tick that box. Thank you very much. So the next thing, both of my housing plots, the neighbourhoods have got their endeavours up to rank 4, so that's delicious.
Very
and
good.
something that has been happening, people are in the custom LFG finder. People are starting raid groups. So people can join the raid group and then just say what sort of endeavor they're looking for, and then go and visit. Because if you're in a group with somebody, you can right-click on their name and visit their houses, so you can visit their neighborhood.
Right.
So this is how people are getting to like other endeavors that they don't have access to, so that they can spend their coupons and buy different sorts of decor.
Right. Okay.
And it's really nice because like people are just popping around, and like the raid chat was full of just people going, oh, I was looking around your house and how did you do this, and it was delightful. Everybody was really polite, everybody was being really nice. Oh, it was so nice. So I wanted to find somebody who had the Gnome endeavor up, because there's some cute like engineering style things. So I managed to find somebody today and do that. So I've done that. My alliance house has hit rank 10, not rank 10, rank 8.
Okay, nice.
So she's now got the medium exteriors open to her, so I'm going to play with those this week. I need to do some more work horde side, because that one's just a little bit off 8. So some of the things that you do, like if you buy housing decor, those points go to both of your houses, but the endeavor stuff, if you do endeavor stuff, unsurprisingly it's
only going to go
the
to the
endeavor
one.
that you've got. Yes. And I've obviously worked much harder on the consortium stuff than I did on the Grummel stuff, so I should go and do some more Grummels. So I almost feel like I've neglected my houses recently, but I've sort of been doing other things. The other thing I've really got invested in, and it's sort of it takes about an hour and a half a day if I want to do it every day. They, despite the fact that they're dialing back on pet battles and how you collect pets and stuff, they added new achievements for Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms, and also for Northrend.
That's weird.
And I'm like, oh, I mean, fine. This was like the bone that they threw pet battlers. They're like, there you go, have some achievements. So normally what you can do with those is you go to see pet battler and you the way I normally do it, I go and see whoever the pet battler is, Grand Poobah pet battler, and then I get out like a team consisting all of critters, and then a team, and you work your way through. So there are 10 different pet families, and to get the achievement for each one you have to win a pet battle with a team of all the same type of pets, and they all have to be rank 25. Great, super. And normally you can just sit there and you can just burn your way through until you're bored and then come back another day. They've done this really weird thing with Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms, so you can only battle those pet masters once a day.
Oh.
So it's going to take you a minimum of 10 days to do this.
Oh, that's annoying.
But also, pet battlers, the pet battle masters in Kalimdor, you have to do on a horde character, and the ones in the Eastern Kingdom, you have to do an alliance character.
No.
And I was like, and I stood in front of this. And I hadn't twigged it. I only twigged this because I use a pet battle site called Zufu's Pet Battle Strategies.
Right.
Which is at wow-petguide.com. And I stood in front of somebody on the Eastern Kingdoms on a horde character for ages. And I'm like, why won't they battle me? What's going on? I know it's only one a day, but I've definitely not done a pet battle. And it's only because I cast my eye over something. There was this like huge banner that was like, by the way, it doesn't say it anywhere, but you can only do this. And I was like, oh, that's really irritating.
That's really irritating, also, yeah.
There'll be some people who only have Horde or Alliance characters.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a bit...
That seems weird and unnecessary, yes.
And also, it's a lot of travel. The reason it's only taking me the amount of time it's taking me each day is because in my grand leveling alts of every flavour, because I've got one of each race, I have enough characters to park one of each in front of each pet battler. So all I have to do is log in and out, rather than try and fly my way around because the first day I was flying around and I'm like, this is going to take forever. Hold on. Ding. literally a light bulb, and I'm like, you've got 20 odd characters.
Yeah, you
counted
just
them up, and I'm like,
yeah.
I've literally got enough to put one in front of each of these pet. I was so pleased with myself in that moment. I'm like, yes, my alts are going to earn themselves their place on my screen. Well done, everybody. So yes.
How annoying!
I literally have.
This sounds extremely irritating.
It is, yeah, and I just don't know why they decided to do it like that. It just seems a really bizarre choice, because they've also put in Pet Battler of Northrend, and they've done the same thing, whereas you can only battle once a day. The Northrend is fine. One character can get around Northrend.
Yeah, Northrend's quite small.
Five. But yeah, that's sort of what so I'm about. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm 5 days into that,
okay.
So hopefully. Oh, and then one of them hadn't succeeded for me, and I was so frustrated, and I was like, why didn't this tick over? And then I realized what had happened was that I'd followed a guide and copied a string in to do it, and I hadn't realized that one of the pets was something I only caught the other day and was only level 1.
Oh no!
I went to bed so angry that day. I was so annoyed with myself.
Oh dear.
So, but it's also sort of highlighting some pets that I don't have, and I'm like, oh, so occasionally a pet will come up on like the suggested guide, and I'm like, what's that? Why don't I have that? Look, that looks very. And sometimes, so I found that there's this pet called Courage, which is like a little Larian pet, you know, from the place that begins with B in the Shadowlands, Bastion.
Yes.
Okay. And I was like, well, why don't I have that? Oh, you don't have that, EJ, because it's not as straightforward as the guide I saw said, right, you have to click on these 8 or 9 little Larian cubs, and then Courage will appear, and you'll be like, and then you've got like 40 seconds to click on her before she vanishes. I'm like, okay. So I watched a video about where they all were, and I ran around very quickly, and I was very excited, and I'm like, why isn't this working? And then there was somebody else there going, thankfully, there was another very useful person there who invited me to a group, and they're like, so we have to click on 5 of them in like 10 seconds. And I'm like, what? The guide I said didn't tell me that. So thankfully, there's a lot of us who've suddenly realised we don't have like this pet. It's called Courage. So we managed to get a whole group of us together so we could like bam, click all of these Larian. So everybody got their cub, and as we finished, another group arrived, and it was just like,
Lordy.
it was kind of sweet, because everybody was just helping each other out, and they're like, oh, I didn't realise it was like this. It's like, no, and then it's like when these people turned up, it's like, have you got a full group? And they're like, yeah. Okay. Because like, if they hadn't had a full group, I'd be like, I'll click a pet for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, so there's a whole load of pets that I'm like, why don't I have that? And that one is obvious, because like in Shadowlands, how was I going to get a group of 5 people to come and pet all, like, click on all these like Larian cubs with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of how I'm keeping myself like distracted at the moment. I'm mostly getting on with everybody with their new specs, apart from the druid. I don't like Eclipse like this. This is why I didn't play druid for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm sort of thinking
gone back to an older version. I feel like, yeah,
back to an older version, and I never liked that version. So I think what I'm going to do, my plan had been, once the new expansion comes out and we get the Haranir, I was going to make a Haranir druid.
Okay.
Because their forms are like amazing. So I think what I might do is I'll either level it as a guardian, or I'll level it as feral, because I think feral's had a bit of a change up.
Yeah, feral's not too bad.
And I thought I often get on better with something if I, rather than speccing into something and trying to work out how it plays, I often work better if I level something up through a new spec. So they give me a couple of things and I'm like, well, what do I do with that? Oh, okay. Because otherwise I've got like 20 spells and I'm like, oh, I don't know what any of you do. It's overwhelming. So I think that's my current plan with my druids.
Okay.
Yes, how about yourself? You were definitely, I've seen you online.
Yeah, I've not been online super amount. It's been a super busy week at work. I've spent quite a lot of time sitting in meetings, so I didn't do a huge amount of gaming last week. I did log in yesterday for just briefly. I realised I hadn't helped second chair Pordo with his weird housing
Actually to go and collect stuff.
requests. I suspect his job is to show you where all of the housing vendors are in old expansions, or to help you remember that that's a thing. So that was extremely irritating because I didn't have any of quite a lot of the currencies that were required. Especially, I don't have any spare parts. They're not even a currency. They're a thing. I got them out of my bags when we ended that expansion because
yes, that's why I ended up in Mechagon a few weeks ago having to farm because I'd sold them all because
exactly.
I'm never going to need these.
No, exactly.
I had thousands of those.
Yes, exactly. Got rid of them because I didn't need them in my bags. No, you need them in your bags again. Like, okay, fine. So, yes, had to go and do some farming, which was kind of annoying. There was also then the, like, how do I get to that part of the world? Had to go to Valdrakken for something, and part of my Dragonflight campaign quest is suddenly not showing as complete. I don't quite know what's going on with that.
It's weird.
Yeah, and then I had this weird audio bug, so this sound effect kept playing on a loop in a very, very irritating way, so that was kind of annoying. Did a delve, opened some more of the crates in a delve, got an achievement for opening some treasures in a delve. So yeah, I'm trying to do all of the delves at level 11, at tier 11. At the moment, but I'm not doing huge amounts. Did not do too much. Didn't really do anything with my house. Did a couple of things for endeavours, but nothing serious. But yeah, it's lovely that the neighbourhood is at level 4. That's really good. My house is now at level 4, which I've not done too much with, so that's kind of good. But yeah, so I had a couple of hours in game, but not too much yesterday. The big news of the week was that we finished our D&D campaign.
Oh my god, it was so exciting.
Yeah, we've completed our Dungeons and Dragons campaign that we started in 2023.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. So Thursday night, we finally defeated Kel'Zarnoth and sent him back into his eternal prison. And Vedeketh was saved. Everybody survived the final fight. It was very, very close. I do love it when the dice help you with the dramatic stuff. So the terrible evil demon Kel'Zarnoth had taken over Vedeketh's body and was possessing him. Vedeketh's sibling was also in the party, and River. Oh dear. Sorry, the cat is pacing super anxiously. River's on a diet. She went to the vet this week. She's too heavy. She's on a diet. She's very angry about it. So she's just pacing around the flat. She keeps jumping onto the screen and then jumping off again. But the killing blow for the demon went to the sibling with...
That was very, very cool.
Yeah, which was very cool, with lightning damage, which was also very, very cool. 2 people had to do death saves during the final fight. The sibling, I think, said they had 1 health point left at the end of the fight. So it feels like I did a reasonably good job at making some fairly serious combat, that everybody understood what the stakes were. And
I'm so pleased I took that spell that I've never had before.
Yes, Spare the Dying came in super handy.
Right. I was just having a quick look before we go on a journey, because being a druid I can do that, and I was like, oh, that I should probably take, and I'm really glad I did.
Yes, there was quite a lot of dying that needed sparing in the end, as it turns out, because that demon hit like a truck. Yeah, the damage on the demon was like 8d8.
Yep.
And then it was like 8d8 plus 8, and then another 8d8, and then it had a second weapon, and it had plus 14 to hit, so it wasn't missing. It wasn't missing. Yeah, it was a good fight. It felt like a good gnarly fight, but we saved Faerun, and everybody had a nice epilogue. Everybody's having a nice time, and I'm feeling quite pleased with the way that went. I thought it worked out pretty well.
You should. It was an absolutely stonking time.
Yeah.
You did such an amazing job for us. It was.
I mean,
oh my goodness, it was so good.
A lot of the credit goes to Dan for feeding me the most interesting story points, but it was a good time. So yeah, we're going to be playing some Blades in the Dark. That's our next plan, but we're taking a little bit of time off so that I can have a bit of a rest and also put some new. Finish reading the book and put some new stuff together. So, the river's now destroying things. She's so angry. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I think she ate her dinner quite quickly. What I'm hoping is she's not going to be at the eating her dinner too quickly, so that she then throws it up stage, because that'll be really annoying. So
like 5 minutes and the signals will reach her brain from her tummy.
Yeah,
she's eaten. She'll be fine.
Takes a while. Yeah.
20 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good. It was good. We finished. We've done it. We finished a whole campaign.
Yay!
Over the course of several years. So yes, very pleased with that. Right, let's find out what everybody else has been up to. Starting as always with Salmis.
Hello, Raven and DJ. This is Selmis, the alchemical rogue, reporting in for my week in WoW. Friends and family times were limited due to technical issues, but we finished our first Mechagon-flavored endeavor. I saw a note in chat that I had rewards in my endeavor chest. Endeavor chest? What's an endeavor chest? After searching on the internet, I was directed to a small chest near the Founder's Point Steward. It gave me 250 housing experience points. Ritual healing went raid boss hunting. Old easy content counted for the endeavor task of 5 raid boss kills, and it was repeatable, so we just kept stomping our way through the Crucible of Storms and Dizaralor. No one got Jaina's Mr. Bubbles mount, but we still had a lot of fun. My horde house is a warlock's tower whose main room goes up 5 stories tall. I finally built a crazy staircase that goes to the top, but it took about 5 YouTube tutorials and fighting against a bunch of cryptic "decor is out of bounds" error messages to make it happen. Hoping in the future I can simply summon my own Fellevator. Thank you all. Salmis out.
Oh, is your Bell cleaning?
Yes.
Oh, Bell is
cleaning
Snowfie.
I know.
Oh, they do like each other occasionally.
Sophie just woke up. She goes, "What's going on?"
Yes, why is my head being cleaned? Oh dear.
She knows, sometimes she's a bit of a mood to her, but she does know that Sophie's a little old lady who needs looking after.
Needs looking after. This little old lady's not clean enough. Need to fix. Yes, I also got 250 XP from the Endeavour chest, which I also didn't know was a thing and also found out about. So go check your Endeavour chests, people. Marie.
The Endeavour chest is to the right-hand side of the board that's next to the NPC in the middle of your neighbourhood who does all the intro stuff.
Yes. Marie has continued to be sick, but did finish Seance at Black Manor, which she highly recommends. She also managed a little WoW during the free weekend.
Anne finished the pre-patch event, got more pets, and is up to 1773, and has started work on the Old World Family Battler, which is slow, as you can only battle each NPC once a day. Yes, I feel your joy over the way that's going.
Yes. Am's got his 12th Darkmoon Fair PvP trinket and managed to join a group on Achievement Discord to get the Garrison Fight, Salute, Kill achievement and his Warlord title. Congrats. His R side is not enjoying the button mashing that D4 requires, so he's happy to play in short bursts, balancing this with ample TV, reading Blood Ties, and Animal Crossing New Horizon DLC in bed. Very good.
Excellent. Cheryl's health has taken a nosedive, thanks in part to the ongoing US bullshit in their hometown. They are still on a WoW hiatus, so instead they're playing a lot of Power Wash Simulator 2, Baldur's Gate 3 with a Lae'zel romance run, and some Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Yes, big shout out to anybody in the Twin Cities. It sounds like it's still pretty grim over there. Just because the media has sort of stopped talking about it a little bit doesn't mean that any of that has got any better. Pastor Matt did some pre-patch, a lot of endeavours and checking his alt gameplay. Also to find a home for his Horde characters who do not want to live in his Alliance house. Well, unreasonable. He's also listening to Blood Ties and is happy that Christy Golden is still writing for WoW. She made him like and feel sorry for Tyrallion. I need to read that. Yes, it's on my Kindle. I bought it and then I was distracted by something else I was reading, and then I'd forgotten that I'd bought it until I read Pastor Matt's message earlier. So thanks, Pastor Matt.
Yes.
You have reminded me. That's something else I shall do this week. Arrowith has been setting up action bars and specs for alts before moving on to the pre-patch weeklies, and they're getting enough tokens to fill out a new set pretty quickly, which is how they think a pre-patch should work. Yes, once they buffed everything and gave us some daily quests, it's all working much better in the pre-patch event. Thanks, Liz. They have also used the recap system to level a final alt from 70 to 80, which is a nice way to end the expansion.
Very good. Graphis has been tidying up characters, which had included deleting about half of them. They've also been flying around to finally cap archaeology. Oh my goodness. That's a bit of a blast from the past. Good grief.
And finally, Trey has played Borderlands 4 and some new Doom Dark Ages, where he's frustratingly stuck on a basic part at the moment.
Oh
no. I'm sure you'll sort it out. I'm sure you will. Step away and come back to it, and I'm sure you'll work it out. Yes.
Well, and that brings us to the end of another show. If you want to get in touch with us, the best place to find us is on Discord at bit.ly/ggw-discord. We'd also love it if you drop us a follow over on Blue Sky at GGW Show, or subscribe over on YouTube, also at GGW Show. Remember, if you've enjoyed the show, drop a like, a follow, or a little review on your platform of choice to help other people find us too.
Next week, housing endeavours. I want your first thoughts. Which endeavour did your neighbourhood pick? What do you think of the tasks involved? What decor pieces are you chasing? And who else would your neighbourhood like to team up with?
Well, thanks for listening this and every week, everyone, and we will speak to you in 7 days. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.